In 2017, two landmark events took place that shocked the world. An upstart billionaire became president of the United States, and an upstart financier became president of France. Both started out as dark horses in the presidential horse race. Both were not immediately taken seriously, but what the two have in common even more is their wives. This is probably the first time since the end of the Jacqueline Kennedy era that there has been almost more talk about first ladies than about presidential husbands. In both presidential couples, the age difference is 24 years. Only in the Trump couple it is classic. The husband is older than his wife, while in the Macrons it is the opposite, which causes a lot of vulgar misinterpretations and innuendos in the press and among the townsfolk. Why, then, does the 55-year-old First Lady of the United States look completely unhappy against the background of the radiant wife of the French president, who is already over 70? Although both marriages are technically unequal, in fact, only the union of Melania and Trump can be called that. Melania is the third wife of a billionaire who raised his father's starting million. Brigitte is the only love of a man with whom, as an associate, she went through his path from clerk to president of the country. The difference is obvious. Wouldn't you agree? Brigitte has always been there for me, and I'm not going to hide her now. She shares my life with me, and her opinion was and remains important to me, the new French president invariably repeats, and not only speaks, but also does. Brigitte Macron, the first French First Lady in history, has her own office on the Champs-Élysées. In addition to her role as an advisor to the president, Brigitte, a professional teacher, is involved in education issues in the country. Trump also set up a separate office in the White House, but not for his wife, but for his daughter. Ivanka Trump, not Melania, actually became the hostess of the 45th president's residence. And no matter what internal considerations and logic this may be caused by, from the outside everything looks humiliating for Melania. In the history of the United States, only once has the role of First Lady been played by the president's adult daughter, Martha Jefferson, who took her place next to her widower father, Thomas Jefferson, back in 1801. But Trump is not a widower. The term first daughter has already taken root in the United States, by analogy with the First Lady, and the press is actively discussing how technically Trump is displacing Melania, replacing her with Ivanka wherever possible, and not so much. After the inauguration, he even stopped pretending that his wife's opinion might be important to him. Melania had an incongruous youth with the typical career ladder of a model from Eastern Europe, through nudity and questionable quality advertising campaigns. And, in our digital age, it was easy for Trump's antagonists to get to the bottom of his wife's past and let sensationalist journalists break through this bottom completely by publishing photos of naked Melania and accompanying them with greasy comments. Fortunately for Brigitte Macron, until 2014, few people were even interested in her existence, except for people close to her. She and Emmanuel did not advertise their relationship, although they had known each other for many years and had been married for 7 years. Macron's wife first came to the attention of the press when he was appointed finance minister under President Hollande. Now, journalists have to collect information about the new First Lady bit by bit, and they can't get anything but rare group photos with colleagues or students. Brigitte's past is safely hidden in the family archives, even if she had something to hide. When Donald Trump got into power, he did not bother to protect his wife from guaranteed harassment. From the very beginning of Trump's election campaign, Melania became the object of ridicule for the press and the townsfolk. And if earlier she was pestered in the press just out of envy, now it's out of hatred for her husband. No one was going to and is not going to notice the positive aspects in it. She is fluent in 5 languages, but she, a Slovene, is ridiculed for her accent in non-native English. She is a beautiful, well-groomed 47-year-old woman, and this is an occasion to discuss the number and cost of her plastic surgeries, as if it had suddenly become a shameful thing to try to age beautifully. She shows touching generosity to the ailing First Lady of Israel, Nahama Rivlin, but everyone around writes only about the incident on the tarmac, when she waved off Donald's hand. Unlike Trump, Emmanuel Macron immediately made it clear that he would not allow anyone to speak ill of Brigitte. In 2015, Madame Macron gave her first interview to the most popular weekly Paris match. Her story about her husband, then still the Ministry of Finance, and their relationship made an indelible impression on ordinary French people, and journalists picked up on this trend. And when one of Macron's opponents started making obscene passages about his wife, he reacted immediately and harshly. "If I were 20 years older than my wife, it would never occur to anyone to doubt that there might be feelings between us. People say that our relationship is impossible just because my wife is older." Macron's political career was made with the direct participation and in some ways the leadership of his wife. Brigitte is not a victim of her husband's political ambitions. She was as interested in her husband's career development as he was. And in fact, her life after the election, figuratively speaking, upgraded, reaching a new level. She is recognized, she is considered, and her army of fans is growing. Even the skeptics are gradually melting away. If this elderly woman is glowing with happiness, then it's the right thing to do. For once, France has had a happy first lady over the years. If you remember, there have been obvious problems with this in recent years. Melania's quality of life has dropped since she became the president's wife. Donald's decision to run for election cost her the giving up of many things she valued in her life, including personal freedom. Melania had to limit her movements in and out of the country. Her schedule may have been largely dependent on her husband before, but now she has no choice at all. The result? Melania looks stiff and tense most of the time, and no one believes her smiles. She has already been given the nickname Ice Lady for her lack of emotionality. Unhappy Melania has already become an internet meme. People are distributing GIFs that show how her face changes when she feels like no one is watching her. Brigitte is also often discussed on the internet. For example, everyone is tormented by the question, can a lady at her age wear miniskirts or not? The elderly lady herself does not ask herself such questions, but takes them and carries them. "She's a rock and roll woman," Paris stylist Delphine de Canicode is quoted as saying by a local magazine. She doesn't hesitate for a minute whether she can afford a skirt above her knees. Mini, tight leather pants, sleeveless blouses. She doesn't suffer from complexes. She's a superwoman. Brigitte indeed has not changed her fashion preferences since her husband became president. She has always been interested in fashion. She has friends in the leadership of Louis Vuitton, and this, by the way, is one of her favorite brands. Publications with deliberate comparisons of Melania and Brigitte's outfits appear in the press every now and then. They write how Melania outshines the Frenchwoman with her fashionable bows. But let's be objective. The mere fact that 64-year-old Brigitte is compared to 47-year-old Melania does not speak in favor of the latter. This means that she is really seen as an equal competitor, and now any brand would be honored to have Brigitte as its client. Melania's relationship with the fashion world became very difficult immediately after the election. To begin with, a number of American designers have openly stated that they do not intend to dress the new First Lady for any money. Some Europeans also joined them. It would seem that for what? By the way, Melania's style itself has undergone significant changes. She had to abandon her favorite styles in favor of conservative clothes, which would not give an unnecessary reason for attacks. But no matter what they're wearing, there's still a reason to discuss it. The society is vigilantly watching her exits and waiting for any slip or departure from the dress code. The most popular topic in mid-May was Melania's bare head in Saudi Arabia and the image of the Sicilian widow in the Vatican. Well, perhaps the most important thing, Brigitte Macron has 3 adult daughters who support her choice and even participated in her husband's election campaign. She has grandchildren with whom she and Emmanuel like to spend some of their free time. She is surrounded by love, and you can see it in her eyes. No matter what happens, she has close people, friends, and her family. And that means she'll never be lonely. And what about Melania? She has many acquaintances, but no friends. She is surrounded by people who will be there for her as long as she is of interest to them as Trump's wife. Nothing personal, just business. She has a son, but like her husband's other children, he is primarily Donald Trump's child. Even the footage from the inauguration ceremony shows that Melania is no longer on the same wavelength with her son, and the older he gets, the wider and deeper this gap will be. But the main thing is that there is no more love in her family, and it's very evident in everything she does. Now she looks very much like the unhappy and unloved Princess Diana, who had to play the happy wife of Prince Charles in public. It seems that the only wall that Trump has managed to build is the wall between him and his wife. Andy Ostrov, a popular American actor, joked the other day in a tweet, and Melania personally gave him a like.